Hello and welcome to my content creation masterclass. You guys should be able to see my screen. A few nods. Um, so firstly, welcome. I always love to start by saying welcome to you guys. I realize it's a choice that you've made to come to my masterclass. And it's because today's is focused on content creation, creating content for your niche, a few tricks around Canva, but also about like how to write our captions, how to sell our offers, and how to really build that connection with your audience. These days, we are using social media a lot more to sell our products and services as opposed to traditional marketing methods like, newspapers, magazines, printed advertisements in shopping centers and stuff like that. A lot of people have online businesses, and a lot of people are saturating that social media space with selling a product or service. And today's class is going to be focused predominantly on digital marketing and also Instagram. So Instagram is one of the platforms that I use predominantly to sell products and services, but a lot of what I teach today can be transitioned across other social media platforms. So successful coaches get inside the customer's mind and find out what the individual really cares about. Remember, your ideal client is a real person, so you need to look at their real behavior. Something I find a lot of my clients do is focus on themselves when they're putting content out rather than taking the focus away from you and putting it onto your customer. And this, I think, when you can practice this and change this mindset about what you're putting out there, it can help with reducing that overwhelm. You don't get so self-conscious on you, and you're more focused on what you need to put out to your ideal customer or your ideal client. Before we even look at creating content, we need to be clear about who our niche or our ideal client is. If we're just posting on social media, trending audio with a reel, or if we're picking up on what other people are doing, what can happen is that the content doesn't actually add value to our ideal niche or our client. And in like the follow-on effect from that is our growing doesn't increase, and our conversion of our following to clients also doesn't happen. So in terms of who is your niche, if you've done work on this before, that's fantastic. Some of the questions we need to ask ourselves and reflect upon are, when our niche sees our social media, how do you want them to feel? What worries your niche and what do they stress about? What are they wanting to change in their life? What keeps them up at night? What are their goals and aspirations? And make a list of their problems, fears, and desires. A lot of the clients I work with, they themselves are their ideal client. So if that is the case for you, these questions might be really simple to answer. If your niche or ideal client doesn't have the same avatar as yourself, it's important at this stage that we go and do a bit of research. So if you know someone who's close to you who is your ideal client, ask them these questions. If you have existing clients at the moment, ask them these questions. Like, what are you currently struggling with? What are you challenged by? Where do you want to be? As a coach, these are a lot of the questions that you would probably ask your client in sessions anyway. Or you may even ask them questions like this to qualify them as a client. Another mistake a lot of people make is thinking that anyone who wants to buy your product or service is a client, and that can be true, but they may not be your ideal client. So that's when you can make the differentiation about who you want to work with and who you want to dedicate your time to. When I was doing one-on-one holistic health coaching, I would have a series of qualifying questions for my clients. And if they didn't answer those questions the way that my ideal client would, I would say no to working with them. They are not someone that I would be able to provide a lot of benefit for. I might be able to help them in a couple of aspects, but I think that they could find a better fit with a different health coach. And so this is where we can protect our energy. I know when I work with a lot of clients who don't align with me and we don't click, they're not my ideal client, it takes a lot away from me. When I work with a client that is my ideal client, it's almost like an injection of energy into what I do. It's more passionate, it's more client focused, and I have the skill set to be able to help them achieve their goal or work towards what they want to feel like day to day. So, in answering these questions, this is going to help you in creating a content strategy or a content plan to start connecting with this niche and ideal client. If your following isn't big at the moment and you start putting content out there to attract your niche and ideal client, we'll talk about viral trends later in the session. But what will happen is the first thing you need to do is draw them over to your page in some way, shape, or form. Once you do that, your page is almost like your resume. It's going to tell them your name, your job description, your bio is going to tell them who it is that you want to work with, what you can do for them, and how it is you do it. They'll then have a look at your highlights. They'll then look at your grid, and if they connect with the content that you're putting out there, that's a follow. And that is also that's a warm lead coming across to your page, and that's an opportunity for you to reach out to them and say, hey, thanks for following me. And you can start to ask them some of these questions. Are you working towards any health or wellness goals? What is it that you want to achieve in the next 6 months? How have you been feeling about life lately? Or, you can have a look at their feed. Do they have kids? You can start to work out if they're your ideal client or not. Once we've done this, we can take the problem, desire, or fear of our niche and we can draw it out on a map that looks similar to this. So we can look at their current situation and their desired situation. And this arrow in the middle, this is what bridges the gap, and that is your offer. Too often, we focus on advertising our offer. Clients don't want what you offer. They want to know that you can get them to the desired situation. So you can post, I've got a one-on-one program where I can give you this many one-on-one sessions. I can give you this type of product. I can give you, all of these other bonuses. And we focus on advertising this. And our niche looks at that and is like, well, what is this offer going to do for me? Where is it going to lead me? And we forget to look at the outcome or the desired situation of our niche and include that in our content, because this is what they're going to buy. This is what they're going to connect with. A lot of the people I work with will hear of the desired situation I can get them to, and they'll sign up before they even know what my offer is. And it's because this is where they want to be. So when we do this exercise, when we're looking at the current situation, we can have a look at, what our niche is challenged by, what they're struggling with. We can have a look at some of their reasons for change. We can have a look at their mindset. Are they in a space where they're mentally ready and prepared to change? Quite often we'll find people who are in the ideal, they're an ideal client in their current situation and they want to get to their desired situation, but there's no motivation to change. And so that's what you would call a cool to warm lead. There's no hot desire to get across to here yet. And so with our content, we can start looking at the current situation and what stimulus is going to move them and get them projecting towards that desired situation. We can look at limiting beliefs. So everything that we experience in our lives, we make a story up after we experience it. And then once we've done that, if this happens recurring over time, we'll start to believe it's true. A lot of the time, this can happen with limitations. So if I'm a wellness coach and I'm constantly reaching out to clients and they're constantly saying no, we might start to believe that we're never going to get any clients. We might believe this to be true. And so we have to start looking at stories or mindset and ways in which we can change our thinking to get them from here to the desired situation. So this is another important exercise where you need to really nut out where they are, where they want to be. And if you're in the process of crafting your offer, this might also help you start to develop programs, courses, whatever it is that you're working towards to get your clients from their current situation to their desired situation. Something else that I'll say here, which might be a bit controversial, is that you may not necessarily need to know what your offer looks like or what content you're going to be putting out in your offer. If you know where your clients are and you know where they want to be, and you've got a skill set to be able to get them there, but you're not exactly sure what a program would look like, you can start bringing on clients, working with them one-on-one, and seeing what it is they ask you for, what it is that they need in that coaching manner, asking them questions, what are they stuck with, and how we can get them there. And you can start to develop, one-on-one programs or group programs to work with people to get them to that desired situation. How to craft a strategy. So the biggest thing that if you take anything out of today, take this. You don't need to post on social media daily to grow your audience. But what you do need to do is you need to be consistent. So watching this class, it's time to commit to yourself what frequency you're going to be posting. Are you going to post once, twice, or 3 times a week? We need to pick something that's manageable for you and that doesn't feel overwhelming. If you want to start with posting, a valuable piece of content once a week, commit to that. Once you start to feel comfortable with that, you might then bring in 2 posts a week. But once you start posting consistently, you'll also see a change in the amount of followers you have, the reduction in unfollows that you have, and you'll also start to notice in yourself how you feel about posting. So once you can bring in that consistency and start to make it a habit, it isn't as overwhelming. The next thing we have to do, which I've already been talking about today, is we need to be posting valuable content. Pick topics or themes that are relevant to your niche. If you're posting content about your niche and you see someone doing a trending audio that you can't think of any piece of value you can add by using that trending audio, but it's going viral and it's likely to get you more likes on that one post, don't do it. The likes that you get on that one post are not going to increase your niche coming over to follow you and convert to clients. We have to start looking at how we're using our social media and what our goals are. If our goal is to just have our niche following us so that you can add value to their lives, it needs to be valuable content that you're putting out there for your specific niche. You might start to notice once you have conversations with your niche, there might be frequently asked questions. What's something that comes up for them often? There might be a problem that they need to overcome before they're willing to commit to purchasing your program or product. So you might solve a problem in your content. You might bust a myth. Something that I love to do is look at something that's commonly said that I don't believe to be true. And so I might be like, so you think you need to post on social media every day to grow your following? Well, that's actually not true, and here's why. So we can start the content with a hook and we can bring them in and talk about something that a lot of people say you need to do to grow your following or grow your niche. Something else that you can do that can help reduce the overwhelm is to put in a relatable quote or a motivational post with a call to action. So with our niche, we can put in quotes that talk about their current situation. We can talk about where they're currently at. We can talk about how that it's okay to be there or to be where they are. We can talk about how it's not their fault that they're in that current situation. They just haven't worked with you yet. So we need to look at, what they'll relate to, put a call to action, drop some love, double tap if you agree, tag someone who needs to hear this today, share to your story, save this post for later. We can then look at motivational posts. So there's a lot of people that are on that journey from their current situation to their desired situation. Life happens, and sometimes there are setbacks, and this can be really discouraging. And then building upon that, we can start to, get our limiting beliefs growing. So we can talk about a motivational post to say, hey, I can see you there. I know you're working hard towards this. Keep going. This is your reminder that even if today is hard, you need to keep pushing through it. You need to keep going. And lastly, we need to stick to our brand. This is where we don't spend hours on Canva creating a tile for your grid. Canva has lots of templates that we can use. And when we're clear about our branding, this isn't the be all and end all, but when we have like 3 fonts we use, when we have 3, or I usually have a 6 color palette, and around 3 fonts, and then I use, bold, italics, and underlining. When we've got this kit available to us and we can just pick a template from Canva that fits in with what the message is we're wanting to get across, we can just shift around our brand palette, and then have this ready to go within 2 to 5 minutes. And then we can post it with this valuable piece of content. So perfectionism is not the winner here, productivity is. I'm a perfectionist. So this is something that I really, really struggled with when I first started doing branding and creating content. I wanted it to be perfect before I posted it. The same with like miming to a audio on like for a reel. I wanted it to be aligned perfectly. But after posting, some pretty shocking stuff, and then posting the stuff that I considered to be perfect, there's no direct correlation with likes, follows, unfollows, because my content wasn't ideal. What I did notice was that my imperfect content, if it had value in it, there was still a lot of interaction on the post. There was still a lot of people who were, resonating with what the actual message was that I was trying to get out. They weren't focused on the fact that my font wasn't aligned, or that, I don't know what else that I do that's imperfect. Whatever it is. So just don't get caught up in trying to make your content perfect. Good is best. The other thing I include in content strategies is repetition. And I'll talk in a minute, I think in the next slide, about the limitations of social media, which I think a lot of people forget about when they're posting. But we need to include repetition. So you can look at a 2-month cycle of content, and we can have a look at, different themes that you talk about each week. Our followers don't see every piece of content we post. If we have 1,000 followers, you can assume that about 100 people might see your post. So we work on like a 10% rule. It's the same with your stories. If we've constantly got new followers coming over to our page and we've posted about something 2 months ago, they would have missed out on that topic that you've previously spoken about. With the way that social media platforms are consistently changing and the way that you are changing and evolving, you might have a similar message, but you might present it in a different way. So if you previously put up a carousel post about, the top 3 tips to boost your energy, you might then put that into a reel. You might decide that you've got a better tip than those top 3 tips you put up 3 months ago. You might, put it up as a blog post or something else. We can repurpose our content. So, and then the last way, it takes multiple exposures to content, topics, services, and or products in order for someone to take action. So you guys may have experienced this firsthand, where I'll use an example that's happened to me quite recently. I'm looking at buying a new wallet. I went on to, I think it was Sadler and Co. It's like a leather goods shop here in town. I went and had a look at one of their wallets. Got all the way to checkout, and I was like, no, I can't justify this at the moment. I'm not going to purchase it. Facebook ad campaigns are set up. So the next time I log into Facebook, that wallet is sitting in my newsfeed. And I'm like, nah, can't buy it. I decided I wasn't going to do that. Anyway, switch over to Instagram, have a little bit of a scroll. There it is again. And I'm like, oh no, I won't do it. And then 2 days later, flicking through my stories, the wallet appears again. And I've gone, you know what? I'm just going to buy it. I deserve it. Bought it. I needed that 4 content touches. I needed to see that 4 times to be in the right mindset to purchase that product. Your customers are exactly the same. They might see you posting for years, and then one day they're in the right mindset, something has lit a fire in their belly, and they're ready to change their current situation to their desired situation. And you post one thing that resonates with them that morning, and they reach out to you and say, hey, you know what? I need to buy your product or service. So we can be consistent. We can use our previous content. This also takes overwhelm away a little bit too, because we can just scroll through when we're having a day where we're like mind blank. I can't think of anything to post. I've committed to myself 3 times a week. I need to put something up that's valuable. Scroll down your newsfeed until you find something that you're like, you know what, I think I could do this today. I think I could do this a little bit better. And you can reuse that content. When we're creating a strategy, you can also create a 10-week block where you might have a different theme each week and you just revisit that same theme. So if you're looking at boosting energy, you might do a post 3 tips to boost energy, or the next time you post about it, it might be reasons why you want to boost your energy. It might be the number one mistake people make when trying to boost their energy. And it might be that they drink caffeinated drinks rather than trying to nourish their body with whole foods. It might be that they, think that they need more sleep, but in actual fact, they need a different type of rest. So you can look at the same theme or the same content bucket, but repurpose it in different ways. Social media limitations. There are so many. It is a rented platform. We do not own it. We are essentially renting space. The people that follow us have come over at some point in time, either being friends, family, or your niche, your ideal client. They've seen something in your feed that they want to connect with, that they resonated with. The problem is every time we put content out there, it doesn't reach that 1,000 people. We're going to use 1,000 because that's just a round number. It doesn't reach all of them. It'll reach about 10% of them, and this is why people have jumped on the reel bandwagon. You've got that opportunity to reach a larger audience because Instagram now preferences video content over preferencing static posts. That's not to say that static posts don't have their place. There are lots of pages that are just quote pages that use static images, and they have heaps of followers. Their engagement is great. The thing is, it's good to kind of include a mixture of both to kind of extend that reach. But with reels, when we're posting them, they need to have value. They need to have a hook. They need to have a call to action, which is to either come over and follow you or to bring them over to your page. You don't want them just seeing your one reel on the explore page and then flicking to the next one. We really want to draw them across. The other limitations of social media. I always like to consider things like, what would happen if Instagram went down? What would you do? If you don't know how to answer that question, you need to start thinking about strategies or ways in which you can get your niche's email address. An email address or an email list is something that we own. When we can convert our ideal audience from a follower into someone on our mailing list, we can send them newsletters, we can send them direct messages, we can connect with them in a mass way. So not outside of direct messages. Direct messages on Instagram are great, and it's probably an underutilized feature, but you can only speak to one person in a direct message. When you have an email list of 1,000 people, you send that email out, it goes to 1,000 people. If you put a piece of content out on Instagram and you've got 1,000 followers, you'll hit around 100 people. So that's one of the limitations of having that rented platform. But in saying that, it is also a great way to meet new people, to meet new clients, and to interact with them in that space. Just make sure that you've got a way in which you can still connect with them if the social media platform were to fall over. So next we're going to have a look at how we can craft our content. So what we've spoken about up until this point in time is, a schedule. We've spoken about the types of things that we need to include in our content, so value in our branding. We've spoken about our ideal client. We really know them well. We know what their pain points are. We know their current situation, their limiting beliefs. We know their desired situation. We know that we can get them from A to B. And so now we're going to have a look at how we can, let them know that we can get them from A to B and that they really want to move from that space. So, like I said before, we need to create this fire underneath their current situation to get them to their desired situation. I've worked and spoken to a lot of people that are in a very crappy current situation and they have no motivation to leave that space. They, as much as it, pains them to be there, it's comfortable. It's what they've always known. They know what all the discomforts are. There's no change. It's not scary. So we have to kind of ignite a fire underneath their current situation to change. A lot of this, or the stuff that you can kind of see day to day where this happens, is if someone in the family falls ill or if there's a sudden death and it's health related. You'll find then a lot of people within the family might then prioritize or start prioritizing their health. If someone has like an extreme burnout or suffers from a mental illness because they've been so stressed for so long, that's enough fire to move them from that current situation to a desired situation where they can start to make changes. So in looking at your niche, we can start to think about, what is this fire or what is this catalyst? What is it going to be that's going to let your client know they need to move from here to here? And this is something that can convert a lot of cold and warm leads to a hot lead that purchases product and service. Limiting beliefs and stuff that sit over in this space. One is cost. Everyone keeps talking about this recession that we're going into and how money is going to be tighter than ever because the cost of living is going up. Why is your ideal client going to spend money on your product and service when they're in this current situation of not being able to afford certain things? What is this catalyst? What is this motivating factor? When we start to look at what we can include in our content, one is our origin story. We have to be very clear about our origin story, and this comes a lot into branding. When I work with clients and we look at their branding, it has to do with why they started. Why did they start their business? Why do you do what you do? What was your catalyst for change? Origin stories always have this same sort of, or good origin stories always have this same sort of workflow. And one of the best examples of an origin story is The Lion King. So the Lion King movie is, most people have seen it, but essentially what happens is that the hero or the main character is in this current situation. They may not necessarily like their current situation, but they're generally happy. They're just, living their day-to-day life. An opportunity arises for the hero, and when that opportunity arises, all of those limiting beliefs come flooding in as to why they think they can't take that opportunity, or all these reasons they can think of as to why they shouldn't take it. So they may reject it at first. Then there is this catalyst for change. Something happens that makes them step into this opportunity and pursue whatever it is. As they then pursue this opportunity, they quite often go on this journey, this up and down journey where they meet new people. All of these other things start to get introduced. And then there might be a huge bit of conflict. And then quite often the hero comes out on top in either of two ways. The first way is that they physically beat whatever their challenge was, and they're up, they're standing on the top of the mountain holding that flag. The second is a little bit subtler, and it's a change in mindset. So you might not actually win whatever that challenge is, but you did actually win because your mindset has changed so far from where you started. So you might look at instances where there's like a boxing movie and it all leads down to this one last boxing scene and they lose the fight. But in the end, they actually win because they've changed so much along this journey that they're in a much better place mentally and moving forward in their life. Same instance, could be the same story where they win in the end and they have a change in mindset and they have a win from the story. So origin story is always a great one to share because if you are your hero, if you are your ideal client, you can show them that you've overcome whatever it is their current situation is. Even if it's not that turbulent, even if it's just the mundaneness of living day to day and not having that purpose or sense of direction, which is a lot of reason why people or wellness coaches, first start. They experience a change in their life and it was for the better, and they want to help other people experience that too. So in that instance, you tell your story, you influence them or you inspire them to make a change. The next is a mission statement. So as much as I've said, don't directly just sell your offer, you still need to have your niche know that you offer the opportunity for them to reach their desired result through your programs or through whatever it is that you do. So you can put out a mission statement saying, I help whoever your niche is to get to the desired result in X amount of months or through X and X and X. So I help health and wellness coaches to build their brand, find their authentic voice, create content without feeling overwhelmed by using social media or in my 10-week program. When we can say put out this niche, and this can go in like a highlight reel on Instagram, so when people are going over and checking out what you do, they can see who it is that you help. This is also something important, to put in your bio so that they can see from your bio instantly, oh, you help, oh, niche, that's me, to get to desired result. Hey, that's where I want to go in this amount of months. And it's like, well, I've been trying to get there for the last 10 years and you can help me do this in 5 weeks. Another content idea is my top 3 tips to get to desired result. So we spoke about that previously with the example of boosting your energy. Client testimonials or social proof. This is a way in which you can show your client that you've worked with your niche and you've helped them get to their desired result in X amount of months. So it's like that social proof. We've spoken about quote posts and motivational posts, something that resonates with your niche and a reminder to keep going. Motivational posts might even just to be, it could be a combination of motivational and quote post. It might be a quote from you saying that, hey, I'm having a rough day today. And I just want to reach out to anyone else who's having a rough day today and say, keep going. So it's like you can put in a caption that this is as much a reminder for me as it is for you that we can do this together. We can look at 7 secrets to getting to the desired result. You can choose however many secrets. How to get to desired result without their biggest fear or annoyance. The number 1 mistake people make when trying to get to their desired result. If you're not reaching your desired result, it could be because of blah, blah, blah. And it can feel like a lot of people are achieving desired result when you're feeling stuck in your current situation. And so these are all hooks that get them to read further down into your content. I'm going to break this down a little bit further with some examples, and then we're going to workshop an example of your own after we talk about funnels. So this is a sales funnel. We have top, middle, and bottom of sales funnels. And what we want to do is we want to get as many people as we can into this top of funnel. And so you can think of this top of funnel here. This is when they first come across to your Instagram page. So we want to send as many people as we can across to your Instagram page. With your top of funnel post, What we want to do is we want to hook them in, we want to give them a bit of value, and we want to give them a call to action. And that call to action is going to be to make contact with us, or to drop an emoji, to send a DM, to comment a word in the caption, to get the conversation going, to ask those qualifying questions to find out if they're our ideal client. The more we can know about them, the more we can know if they're going to come all the way down here to our offer. With the top, I love to use reels, or I love to use posts to kind of draw them in. Once we get to the middle and the bottom, you can do more posts that target people who are at this stage, but I find they're not as successful as working with them in your DMs, or working with them one-on-one in messages, or on a group, or on a video call. So with this middle, usually I like to jump on a call with them and add some value and find out if they're an ideal client. If they are, I move them to the bottom of funnel, where we talk about what I actually offer, what programs, what services. I re-clarify that they want to achieve their desired result in their own words, in whatever it was they told me when we first started talking, what their pain points were, what they were challenged with, what they were struggling with. I want to use their own words in this bottom of funnel to be like, hey, you said that you were feeling like this, 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 and this. I just want to confirm that you definitely want to move towards this desired result, and you're willing to commit your time and energy into doing that. If they're not willing to commit, it's unlikely they're going to convert. So once we can do that, we can talk about the offers and then sign them up as a client. The way that we can structure a top of funnel post with a three-step formula: a hook, a value tease, and a call to action. The way in which we can reach maximum people is using these components for going viral. So we can jump on a trend, we can use a trending audio, or we can provide pure value content tips. We have to do all of these in the post. We can't just jump on a trend. We can't just use a trending audio. We can't just purely add value content tips. We need to incorporate all of these together for our niche to jump on that post or jump on that opportunity. And here is an example. So 3 ways to sell on Instagram without being salesy. So here is, a hook. 3 ways what we're going to be doing, selling on Instagram without being salesy. So this is the fear or the pain point, right? So you can get clients, not just likes and comments. Tip number 1, create content that shows empathy and gives the key to fixing their problem. Allow ideal clients to understand that you know what they're going through, and talk about the keys to overcoming those challenges. Number 2, create a mini blog post. Position your authority by solving a problem in your niche, and then talk about what you offer to help them reach their goals. So here, just note that we're solving a problem for them, we're adding value, but we're also telling them that we have something that will help them with this. And number 3, talk transformation, not information. So talk about the problems your ideal client is currently facing, and then discuss where they want to be. And all that's left to do is position your offer as the vehicle that gets them there. So it's the arrow in between their current situation and their ideal situation. But first, we talk about what their transformation is. We don't just talk about what our offer is. The caption that accompanies that post. How to create content that sells and won't scare people off. We have a hook. So now it's time to talk about how to add value. And we're also talking about relatability. Probably the biggest reason why sales has a bad connotation attached to it is because we've all experienced that one time when someone tried to push us to buy something. It doesn't feel good, it's annoying. That person did not know how to sell properly. The same thing goes for your content. If you're being salesy and pushy, people are going to run as fast as they can in the opposite direction. On Instagram, this means that they've clicked away, and it'll be much harder to get that person back to your page in the future. Try these 3 tips to help you sell through your content in an authentic way. And here is our call to action. And if you're curious to see examples of how to put these concepts into practice, I've created a free training on creating content that sells. Comment transformation down below and I will send it over to you. So this is getting them into the DMs, into that top of funnel. If people who have seen this on a carousel post or on the explore page or in a reel, they will see, hey, I want to be able to sell things, but I hate being salesy. And that's why I've said no to all of these opportunities to jump on a program or a product because I didn't want to have to sell them. And so this is a way in which you can do that without sounding salesy. And now I'm going to throw out some other examples of how we can use that, that template hook. So how to desired result without biggest fear or annoyance, how to boost your energy without drinking more coffee, how to clear your mind without meditation, how to lose weight without restricting what you eat. If you guys have something that you want me to work on now, just pop it in the comments and we will workshop that one once I go through how we then structure the post. So if you can have a think now, if there's something you want me to work through, might be with your niche, their desired result, and their biggest fear or annoyance. So what we look at first is that we want to acknowledge our niche's current situation. We want to let them know that it's okay that they're there. We want to talk about why they might like to achieve their desired result in the first place, what their biggest reasons are for wanting to achieve that desired result. We might even address or acknowledge a common limiting belief around their ability to achieve that goal. Once we've done this, so we've got our hook, and this is where we start adding value. Once we've done that, we then want to acknowledge their biggest fear or annoyance. Why their biggest fear or annoyance might get them to their desired result, but it's not ideal. It might be a quick fix, but not permanent, enjoyable, or achievable for many. So with the examples that I looked at before, so we can, how to boost your energy without drinking more coffee. So drinking coffee is going to boost your energy, but it's a quick fix. How to clear your mind without meditation. I know so many people who have busy minds and they flat out refuse to meditate because they don't enjoy it. So what other strategies can we give them to clear their mind that doesn't involve meditation? And then lastly, losing weight without restricting what you eat. Restricting what people eat isn't always what helps them lose weight, or it might be what helps them lose weight initially, but it's not achievable or manageable. So in all of these instances, we can see how their biggest fear or annoyance might get them to their desired result, but it's not optimal. So we can have a bit of a chat about that. Once we've done that, we can then add some value. So what should they do to get their desired result? And this is the what they need to do to get to that desired result, not how they're going to do it. How they're going to do it is through your offer. What they need to do, though, is how you can add some value. So if they want to boost their energy without drinking coffee, what they can do is they can start to have a look at their day and see what, what depletes their energy, what activities that they're doing that doesn't spark them or light them up. We might look at their diet. We might say, hey, are you making sure that you eat this many fruits and veggies each day? Or we need to make sure that we're nourishing the body with fruits and veg or doing a certain thing. We might say how you can lose weight without restricting what you eat. So we can look at, maybe finding a more balanced diet, or we might introduce them to intuitive eating. We might look at whatever your program is, however you work with your clients, and how it's going to help them get to their desired result, but not with doing their biggest fear or annoyance. And then if they want to know how they can do this, or if they want to know more information on what you've suggested, we can add a call to action. Sometimes they don't have to be as direct as a comment and emoji below for how. It might be, have you tried to get to desired result before? Let me know in the comments. Or do you have a tip on how to get to desired result without drinking coffee, or how to get more energy without drinking coffee? Or have you been drinking coffee to try and boost your energy? It just needs to be something in which promotes engagement with your post. once they've engaged with your post, it's almost like a yes, you can then reach out to them and interact with them. So anyone that likes or comments or drops a message or your emoji or drops into your DMs, that's a permission slip to say, hey, how you going? Thank you for following me. Thank you for liking my post. I'd love to know if it resonated with you, or are you trying to achieve desired result, or is achieving desired result something that you've done previously? Does anyone have any examples they want me to workshop with how to desired result without the biggest fear or annoyance?
Yeah, you can do the meditation.
Yeah, so how to clear your mind without meditating?
Hmm.
Okay. So firstly, acknowledging our niche's current situation. What we can do is talk about, why might they want to clear their mind? So is going to sleep, do you find yourself going to sleep each night, but you are bombarded by numerous thoughts of the day, thinking about what it is you need to do tomorrow? You're creating lists in your mind, and you find you then don't fall asleep until God knows what hour. We might talk about what their biggest reasons are. So you wake up the next day and you're feeling really drained for energy. You've still got all those thoughts present, but now you're doing it. Now you're trying to manage all those thoughts and do everything that you need to do, but you're feeling fatigued, or you're feeling like you don't have a lot of energy. We might talk about how everyone recommends meditation, but I acknowledge like this is not for everyone. A lot of people recommend meditation, but it's not something that everyone enjoys when they first start trying to clear their mind. Or a lot of people don't find it meditating achievable if they've got young kids at home, because they can't find a minute to, free themselves to be able to meditate. So once we can acknowledge where they are, why they want to achieve a clear mind, what their current situation is. It might just even be that, they're starting to feel overwhelmed because their thoughts are always on, or they feel like their thoughts, they feel like they are their thoughts, and they can't separate themselves from their thoughts. So they might start to think like all these limiting beliefs, like, you know what, I can't do everything, or I can't, get out of bed today, or I can't, get the kids ready for school and then go to work for a full day, pick them up from school, and then do X, Y, and Z. Or I can't maintain working full time and having a side hustle. Whatever it is, where they're starting to believe the things that they're thinking, and they want to just, get away from their thoughts. We acknowledge what how to wake up early without being cranky. Then we want to acknowledge their biggest fear or annoyance. So if that's meditation, let's talk about meditation. So why this might be an option for some. However, it doesn't feel great for a lot of people. And so that's the people that you want to kind of reach out to. We can say meditation does work, but to be able to give meditation the time and space it needs, you need to kind of dedicate 2 minutes to your first day and then be consistent with it. And this isn't something that a lot of people want to do. Adding some value. How to clear your mind without using meditation. We can look at maybe like a 5 senses exercise. So we can look at when you're in the moment and you're feeling like you have so many thoughts in your mind. Instead, take a deep breath. You might visualize yourself blowing all your thoughts into a balloon. Once all your thoughts are gone, you tie it off into a knot, watch it drift off into the sky, and that means your mind is clear. Once your mind is clear, to keep it that way, you might look at, naming 5 things you can see. You might rub your fingers together and notice the temperature of your fingers, or you might notice all the sounds that you can hear inside your 4 walls, and then expand to hear what you can hear outside. So it's just adding some value as to how that happens. And then you can say, so a call to action, it could be, Do you find that your mind's constantly crowded? Or what's something that you've been able to do to clear your mind? Or drop an emoji below if meditation is not for you. And we can start to boost that interaction. And all those people that comment, you can say, hey, I saw you commented on my post about trying to clear your mind. And just reaching out to let you know, yes, I teach meditation, but I also help people in like health and wellness and making sure that their mind is clear and that they can detach themselves from thoughts. Does that make sense? And does that help, Mel?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I was on mute, sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so how to wake up early without being cranky. Firstly, why do we want to wake up? What's causing us to be cranky when we wake up early? And we can start to have a look at that. So acknowledging their current situation. So it might be, you might incorporate an origin story here. So it might be like, you know, I used to wake up in the mornings and I was super cranky. I was, you know, depleted for energy. I didn't feel like I had a good night's sleep. I wasn't treating my body well. I didn't have good practices in place. And I just became comfortable with being this cranky person with waking up in the morning. You might then, so that might be your limiting belief. You've, you know, come to the point in time where you believe that this is how your life is. You're just waking up cranky. And then then talking about their biggest annoyance. So what does being cranky mean? What does it look like? Is it that you always, you know, rouse on your partner or the kids, or you like detest getting ready for work because you don't enjoy where you go or who you interact with? So in this situation, being cranky is not going to get them to their desired result. But we can look at, with that origin story, we can start to then look at like what the catalyst was that made you change, or what was the thing that happened that was like, hey, you know, I'm not going to be this person anymore. It might be that you went to work and like yelled at your boss and you got fired. Or it might be that, you know, the kids described you to someone as cranky in the morning. Or it might be that your partner sat you down and had like an intervention or something like that. It doesn't have to be big, but it needs to be something that, you know, they might be experiencing right now. It might be those little things that lead up to what that catalyst is, so they can start to see the warning signs. And then what you need to do to not be cranky in the morning, you might talk about routines. It's time to put a bedtime routine in place and a morning routine in place that are going to leave you feeling energized and happy for the day. It might be to create a happiness list. List down all of these things that you can do within 5 minutes that aren't expensive, that you can pull out at any point in time, that you can incorporate into your morning routine to boost your mood. It might be that you roll out of bed, put headphones on, and listen to your favorite song and dance around the bedroom while you pull out your clothes or get ready to have a shower or do whatever. And they need to be things that are simple, achievable, that your niche can do and can incorporate into their lives. So, you knowing your niche, you'll know what they're capable of. And then your call to action can be like, do you wake up cranky in the mornings, or are you a morning person? Or you might even talk about that in the beginning, you know, acknowledging your niche's current situation. I've never been a morning person. I don't know how people can wake up in the mornings and feel energized. And that left me feeling cranky. So you can kind of, you can have a look at all these different angles. You can incorporate some of the other bits and pieces and include that hook. One thing I will just say before we go, just conscious of the time, we need to make sure that our niche is specific enough that we're not just talking to a generalized population like women or mums. That is a very large niche. Not every mum is the same. You've got working mums, mums that are on maternity leave, mums that have had their first kid, mums that might have a kid that's disabled, mums that might be single. You know, you've got this huge group of people that you can contact within that niche, but you need to be more specific, because a post to mums, the amount of posts that people put out on social media to mums, it's huge, it's saturated. We need to be more specific so that we're speaking to like that direct person. The same thing with women. So women get put into this category like we're all the same, like we all want to reach a desired situation that is the same, but that is not the truth. So we need to find what it is your niche is and what the specific desired situation is and where they're currently at. When we can get real clear about that, we can create content that is specific to that niche, and that is what is going to help you attract that specific niche over to your socials. And conscious that that is 10 o'clock on the dot. Thank you guys all for joining. I'm going to have to run off to another meeting, but if you have any questions about today's class or about today's content, please reach out. Probably on Instagram is the best place to find me. I do have the Society for Success Facebook group where a lot of content gets posted. Content, one, about how you can use it to post to your audience, but also lots of things about branding, about attracting your ideal client, daily activities you need to do to grow your social media following and things like that. And then over the next 5 weeks, I will be running classes from 9 to 10 in the mornings that are going to help with those type of things. Noting that when I first started in the business space, I employed a business coach, which is great. But just if you're working with a business coach currently, make sure that they are conscious of your niche, your content plan, and how your brand and mission gets expressed through your socials, because that is what is going to bring your clients across, not necessarily the structure of your business or working towards your goals. So just be conscious of that as well. And thank you all for joining me this morning.